from Save the Dunes, and we're so excited to bring you a year in review for 2021.
We hope you enjoy hearing about all that we've accomplished this past year. And stay tuned, because, Katie, it's kind of cold out here.
It's really cold.
Whew, that is much better. So as we were saying, we are going to be sharing some of our most exciting project achievements from 2021. So Victoria, what is on the top of your list?
Katie, I have to say that the highlight for me this past year was the completion of our brand new Pollinator Garden Landscaping Guide. This is volume 2 of our Living in the Dunes series, and we had a wonderful time showcasing this new guide with our project partners during Pollinator Week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Pollinator Week virtual program series. It is day 1,
day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5
of Pollinator Week.
We're actually bringing the guide to life with videos, tours, and presentations by some of our incredible project team and committee members. Living in the Dunes, a homeowner's guide to pollinator garden landscaping in Indiana's coastal communities. So this guide is endeavoring to empower you with the tools and inspiration to transform your home gardens with the native plants that support an astonishing diversity of native pollinators. So our natural areas in the Indiana coastal region or anywhere else on Earth would not be diverse without the native pollination that's going on by these hardworking and incredibly charismatic species that we hope you want to bring into your garden, where we're going to talk about developing pollinator habitat in your home garden. We're featuring a tour of Carl Ackerman's native garden in Munster, Indiana, and are also welcoming Eric Bird to the stage to share the Bringing Nature Home Award that they offer to celebrate folks that are doing the hard work to create native gardens in their landscapes.
And then I learned about what habitat was, and it just expanded my mind, just, you know, and the garden. But now I feel like I'm among the habitat. The bees and the butterflies are among the habitat, and we share it. So
another really good reason is so that you tell other people you should do this too, right? So not only growing natives in your yard, but being an advocate for it.
And today, I couldn't be more excited. We've got Desi Robertson from the Indiana Dunes National Park, who's going to be talking about native bee research that she's involved with. And we have Steve Sass and Amanda Smith from Indiana Nature, which a lot of you are probably familiar with. It's one of the most popular groups on Facebook, and it also is connected to some incredible Lepidoptera research projects on their website.
And here in Indiana, we have approximately 416 species. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot of bees in one state. But what's even more amazing is that half of that species diversity occurs in the narrow strip of area in the region known as the Indiana Dunes.
Gosh, what, 2018 was the first year we launched this project called the Great American Indiana Nature Lepidoptera Project. And as these photos began being posted to the Facebook group, we then started a database.
And as of today, we have cataloged 1,784 species of Lepidoptera through the GAIN LP. Of that total amount of Lepidoptera, only about 115 of them are butterflies. The rest are moths.
We're going to have pollinator art, photography, and culture programming. This is going to feature Susan Kurt, who is getting pretty famous across the region for her incredible photographs, one of which is featured here. She's going to teach us how to take pictures of that unseen world all around us. We'll have Joel Perez of the Nature Conservancy making the connections between the monarch butterfly and the East Chicago community through their Monarch Festival in September. And then we have Barb Labus, who's going to provide us some background insight into how she creates such gorgeous illustrations of native plants and pollinators, 4 of which are featured in our new guide.
I can see one that's in a flower. And now I'm just trying to keep focus on that flower and wait for it to emerge, which it just did.
You can see images of butterflies through stone carvings and paintings of the indigenous groups that existed in Mexico before them. So you can see how these pollinators, these butterflies, we're part of that culture for a really, really long time. And so we decided to create this celebration with the East Chicago Festival de la Monarca, where we can uplift those voices, really put to the spotlight the love for the monarch that you know, the Latino community, especially the people of Michoacan, had.
Only in this one, we included the human role in this, how their gardens can provide them this really special relationship beyond just beautiful flowers, to understand their role in this critical support for these insects, the pollinators and others.
And then we're wrapping it up on Friday with this incredible landscape scale pollinator habitat conservation program that Katie Hobgood from Save the Dunes, Desi Robertson from the park, Eric Bird of Shirley Hines, Steve Barker of NIPSCO are all working together on to restore pollinator habitat at the landscape scale. And they're going to bring it home to help you understand how all the native gardening that you're doing is actually conservation work. You're actually working in collaboration with these conservation experts and increasing connectivity at the landscape scale.
And I'm excited to share one of the projects we've been working on to improve pollinator habitat across the Northwest Indiana region.
Pollinators, of course, don't know park boundaries, and so any work that can happen to improve their habitat outside of the park ultimately improves habitat for all the pollinators in the region.
And we've all put a lot of time and energy in sort of landscape scale conservation planning. So all of us partners being there really helps do a lot more than any one partner could do by themselves, right?
You know, through this collaboration, you know, I can lean on Shirley Hines, Save the Dunes National Park Service for their expertise in this field as well, and then just continue to move that forward then.
Wow, wasn't that great? I'm looking forward to doing more programming with the guide next year. But hey, day 5 during Pollinator Week featured some of the project partners from the GLRI project, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right, Katie?
It did, yes. Our GLRI Pollinator project is definitely one of my favorites that we've been working on for several years now. But in the past year alone, over 250 acres of land were enhanced or restored to improve pollinator habitat across the region. Plus, we were able to print a large number of our new pollinator guides with this funding. So now we can distribute them across Northwest Indiana. We're looking forward to many more years of progress for our pollinators on this project.
Conservation action planning is another large partnership project that we engaged in this past year, this time with the Calumet Land Conservation Partnership. Conservation action planning is a globally recognized approach to draw on the expertise of all conservation partners working in a landscape to identify conservation targets, conservation threats, and conservation strategies to overcome those threats. Save the Dunes led the creation of 5 new conservation action plans using this approach for focus areas in the Calumet region. These included Heart of Calumet, the Indiana Dunes ecosystems, Hobart Marsh and Deep River, the East Branch of the Little Calumet River, and the West Branch of the Little Calumet River. The conservation action plans can now serve as living documents to guide the work of conservation partners in the years ahead. The full reports and companion fact sheets will be posted on our website soon. Please stay tuned.
One of those caps are particularly helpful for a group called the Indiana Dunes Ecosystem Alliance, or IDEA, which Save the Dunes is a co-lead on. And working with our partners in the IDEA group has been such a treat and has provided a space for us to share updates and identify and collaborate on different projects. In the past 2 months, we've received notification that we've been awarded 2 different large federal grants that we developed earlier this year with some of the partners from the IDEA group. One is a Sustain Our Great Lakes grant, where we'll be partnering to treat 310 acres of land for invasive species in the Tolston Dunes area. And the other is a Shycal Rivers Fund grant, where we'll be addressing water quality and public access issues along the east branch of the Little Calumet River corridor, including removing log jams on the river to open up the water trail from the headwaters near the Heron Rookery all the way to Lake Michigan. Another one of our projects that came out of the idea group involves working to acquire some parcels of land in Miller that we will then donate to the Indiana Dunes National Park to complete the Marquette Trail. Save the Dunes is always interested in expanding the boundaries of the national park, but we're particularly excited about this project as the end goal is to unite our entire region through this trail system that will span from Illinois all the way to Michigan. Now, the acquisition of these parcels has been a long and complicated process, but we have some tremendous partners, including the National Park, the City of Gary, the National Park Trust, and even Congressman Mervan. In fact, Victoria and I just sat down with the Congressman earlier this week, and getting this project across the finish line is definitely a priority for his office.
Congressman Mervan also recently made public statements calling for change from our nearshore facilities. This was following closely on the heels of recent incidents at U.S. Steel that prompted Save the Dunes and our partners to send a letter to Indiana leadership demanding change.
In September of 2021, a plume of orange iron-tainted wastewater from a U.S. steel plant adjacent to the port spilled into Lake Michigan. Only 12 days later, another spill from the same U.S. steel facility, this time an oily discharge. Both spills prompted Indiana Dunes National Park and the nearby community of Ogden Dunes to shut down access to Lake Michigan.
So unfortunately, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
Victoria Wittig is the Senior Program Specialist with Save the Dunes, a nonprofit that works to preserve the Indiana Dunes.
2017, there was a hexavalent chromium spill at the U.S. Steel facility right on the shores of Lake Michigan. Hexavalent chromium was made famous in the movie Erin Brockovich. It's a carcinogen. We really need these facilities to step up to the plate and start to protect the waters that they need for their operations, but that we need for our drinking water and for our ecosystems to be sustained and be healthy.
We were grateful for Congressman Mervan's response, but the solutions are not yet in place and a lot more work needs to be done. Save the Dunes has recently completed a water pollution prevention plan that addresses incidents at nearshore facilities over the past few years, including consent decrees for the hexavalent chromium spill in 2017 at U.S. Steel Midwest, the cyanide and ammonia spill and resultant fish kill in 2019 at ArcelorMittal, now owned by Cleveland Cliffs, and a series of chronic national pollutant discharge elimination system permit violations and subsequent comment letters we submitted to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. It is our hope and intention at Save the Dunes for this new water pollution prevention plan to usher in a new culture of pollution prevention across the region. Our industries can and must do better. Enough is enough.
Would you like to hear more specifically about what they're doing to reduce emissions or increase sustainability? Do you want them to reach out to the community more directly?
Yes, we are open to all of those communications, those conversations, those partnerships that are built so they understand more of what it is we're looking to see from them, and they can share with us what it is they're trying to achieve.
Save the Dunes also advocates for our waters at the federal level. Each year in March, we put together a team of Indiana advocates to join more than 100 Great Lakes representatives in Washington, D.C. to elevate the Healing Our Waters Great Lakes Coalition policy priorities and to tell the story of restoration success, drinking water investment needs, and the importance of conservation action. Now, this year was a little different as we stayed home and went virtual. We met with our senators and representatives this past March, and we are so thrilled to report that several of our policy priorities have been addressed in recently passed legislation. This is wonderful news for the entire Healing Our Waters Coalition and ensures that our important landscape scale pollinator work that Save the Dunes and our partners are undertaking will continue.
My goodness, from the pollinator guide to the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative work, to conservation action planning, to the new Sustain Our Great Lakes grant and the new Chi-Cal Rivers Fund grant, and extending the Marquette Trail, to standing up to polluters of Lake Michigan and demanding a culture of change, to our Healing Our Waters Coalition. This has been a busy year.
Yes, it has. And that's not even the full list of projects we worked on this year. From the dune restoration work in Long Beach to the creation of land management plans for the different properties Save the Dunes owns. The list really goes on and on. But none of this would be possible without the tremendous support from so many wonderful partners. Now, this isn't all of our partners, but this is all that we could fit on one slide. And finally, Victoria and I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of our grantors who provide the funding to make our program work possible.
Wow.
What a great year we had.
You know, we couldn't have done it without all of your support.
But we also couldn't have done it without our whole team.
You're right, Katie.